Picture this: a retiring pilot's last flight ever. Should be smooth, should be easy. Instead, it turns into one of the most brutal survival nightmares you'll ever see. Let's get into it. We open in a bar in Los Angeles, where pilot Rich is belting out karaoke, celebrating the one thing every pilot dreams of: his final flight before retirement. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, his first officer Ben is on the phone with his wife, and it is not a happy call. She's furious. He promised he'd be home. Their son is sick, and Ben just isn't there. Ben plays it off like the schedule changed, but here's the twist: it didn't. Ben is deliberately picking flights that keep him away from home. Something's wrong in that marriage, and we don't know what yet. Keep that in your back pocket. Next morning, airport chaos begins. There's Dan, a guy who clearly does not follow rules, smoking where he shouldn't, lighting up a second cigarette the second the employee turns their back. And here's where things get dangerous. His tablet's dying, so he hooks it up to a power bank and shoves it in his suitcase. When airport staff ask if he's checking any batteries, he lies. Straight to their face. Remember that power bank. It's about to become the most important object in this entire movie. We also meet Cora, a young girl terrified of flying, and her dad Declan, who honestly does a pretty terrible job comforting her. Ben tries to reassure her, tells her flying's safer than most things in life, but Cora just claps back with attitude. Meanwhile, Cora's stepmom Jaya is quietly slipping a tracking device onto her son Finn's phone, setting the password as his birthday. Feels like a throwaway detail right now, right? It is not. At the gate, esports player Lily bumps into a wrestler named Hutch, who instantly starts mocking her for being a gamer. It escalates fast until her teammate Sam steps in to defend her. Coaches drag Hutch away just before it turns physical, but the tension between these two, not over, not even close. Once everyone boards, we head to the cockpit, and this is where the real dread creeps in. Ben spots a technical report, a fan malfunction, and says they shouldn't take off until it's fixed. Rich, the retiring captain, just resets it and decides to fly anyway. Classic old-school confidence. Reckless confidence. When Ben insists on double-checking the flaps, Rich brushes him off, joking that Ben's overthinking is exactly what got him kicked out of the Air Force. They laugh it off. The plane takes off, and for a while, it's just normal. Turbulence here and there, some flirting in the aisles. Sam and Lily have a moment where she asks why he's scared to read a letter she wrote him. He promises he'll read it when they land. A cute, quiet subplot. Almost makes you forget you're watching a disaster movie setup. Almost. Then Dan's power bank, the one he lied about, starts overheating in the cargo hold, and it catches fire. The flames spread to nearby luggage. An alarm blares in the cockpit. Ben activates the fire suppression system, and it fails. He calls air traffic control, gets clearance to divert to the nearest airport. Meanwhile, two crew members head down to fight the fire directly, but their extinguishers can't keep up. The flames are winning. Then the plane jolts, hard. The burning cargo container breaks loose, slams into gas tanks below, and detonates. A tank blasts straight through the cabin floor, killing a passenger instantly. The cabin depressurizes. Objects go flying. People get hurt left and right. Cora nearly gets sucked out of the plane, and Lily of all people catches her just in time. Rich somehow stabilizes the aircraft. They're diverting to Guam. Everyone thinks the worst is behind them. It is not. The burning cargo container gets sucked completely out of the plane and slams straight into an engine, setting it ablaze. Passengers are screaming. Seats are ripped away with people still in them. In the cockpit, half the instruments go dark. There's no nearby airport to save them now. The second engine catches fire. All power dies. The pilots are forced to activate the emergency backup turbine, but it's not enough to relight the engines or gain speed. Their only option? Dump the fuel and prepare to crash land. Rich tells the cabin to brace for impact. Through gritted teeth, Ben and Rich argue over landing technique. Should they risk a cartwheel? Rich finally agrees to trust Ben's judgment, and with decades of experience behind him, Rich somehow, miraculously, lands the plane on open water. You'd think that's the ending, right? Nope. The plane keeps sliding and slams straight into a coral reef, splitting apart into pieces. A massive wave crashes through the wreckage, killing even more passengers. What's left is chaos. Bodies, debris, fire, floating wreckage, and a handful of terrified survivors clinging to life. And that's when the sharks show up. Lily barely survives one attack, dragging herself onto a floating piece of the plane, forever scarred. In the cockpit, Rich wakes up pinned by twisted metal, bleeding out fast. Ben tries everything, even an emergency axe, but there's no saving him. Rich accepts his fate, says his goodbyes to Ben and flight attendant Penny, and in his final moments, sings quietly to a photo of his family before the windows shatter and the water takes him. Meanwhile, in the plane's tail section, which is somehow still floating, upright and slowly flooding, flight attendant Zoe is trying to keep a small group alive. Matt, Finn, and an injured elderly passenger named Becky. They're trapped in an air pocket, and one wrong move could sink them all. Back with Ben, they figure out their best shot at rescue as the plane's emergency locator transmitter, buried in the sinking midsection. Penny, a champion swimmer, volunteers to retrieve it. But the second she's in the water, a shark finds her first. Ben and Cora watch in horror as she's dragged under, resurfacing just long enough for Ben to almost save her, before the shark rips her apart right in front of them. If you think that's the last shark attack in this movie, you have no idea what's coming. In the midsection, survivors are trying to redistribute weight before the wreck slips off the reef entirely. Tempers flare. Hutch blames Sam for nearly getting people killed, but it's the ocean that delivers the real punishment. One by one, characters dive into shark-infested water trying to find rafts, trying to find family, trying to just survive the next 5 minutes. Some make it. Many don't. Dan, ever the selfish opportunist, causes chaos on the rafts, dropping the rescue transmitter, refusing to help drowning kids, even throwing a punch at Ben. Karma, as you'd expect, does not go easy on him. Let's just say cigarettes and floating debris are the last things he ever reaches for. Back in the tail section, the situation turns devastating. Becky, too weak and injured to swim, tells the others to save themselves. Finn and flight attendant Joey attempt a desperate underwater escape, losing Joey to blood loss shortly after. Becky, alone, accepts she won't make it, spending her final moments looking at a photo of her granddaughter. Hours pass. Night falls. Finally, a rescue helicopter spots the wreckage. Hope returns, until a diver sent down to help gets attacked by a shark, and the resulting chaos causes the helicopter itself to crash into the sea. It feels like the ocean simply refuses to let anyone leave. With the last flare in hand, Ben manages to scare off an entire group of circling sharks, buying just enough time for a fishing trawler to arrive. The crew dumps their entire catch into the water, distracting the sharks just long enough for survivors to finally reach safety. In the final moments, the true emotional gut punch lands. Cora, having lost her father and stepmother, reunites with her little brother Finn using, of course, that tracker Jaya set up at the very beginning. A small forgotten detail becomes the reason a family finds each other again. And Ben, he looks at a photo of his son, revealing the boy has cancer. It's why he'd been avoiding home. Not because he didn't care, but because he couldn't face it. After everything he survived, he finally breaks down and calls his family, ready to go home. So here's the real question this movie leaves you with. When you know your time is limited, are you brave enough to face what scares you the most? Or do you keep running until the world forces your hand? Drop your thoughts below. I want to know what you do. Thanks for watching.